Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Atlas. In today's episode we will be talking about Bitcoin, Orchid, as well as XRP, and today's date is October 15th. It is Thursday, almost 9 o'clock in the morning my time, and we are going to be focusing primarily on the technicals. We got some really interesting stuff that's going on today, one of which we're going to go ahead and go into the article here in just a second. But real quick, if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe if you enjoy this content and you want to see more. For those of you guys that are returning, nice to see you guys again. If you guys click that little bell notification, everybody, you can get notified when we have future videos. I do have a live stream that goes on here in the evening currently, so if you want to keep an eye on some of the charts there, I got some very chill music, and it's a great place to just kind of come in and hang out, maybe talk a little bit in the chat from time to time. People respond back to you. So thank you guys all so much. Let's see if we can get to 50 likes on this video. Now, actually going into the information for this, there was an article that came out on two different resources. Okay, one of which was NASDAQ and the other one was from CoinDesk. So from NASDAQ, what they're talking about is Taproot. This was published on today over on the East Coast. It was 11 o'clock, so that was 10, 9, 8 o'clock. It's about 40 minutes ago. Taproot merged into Bitcoin Core. Taproot, the highly anticipated protocol upgrade designed to add smart contract flexibility and more transactional privacy to Bitcoin, has officially merged into Bitcoin Core. The implementation, now merged into Bitcoin's code, includes the Schnorr and Taproot consensus rules proposed in BIPs 340, 341, and 342, authored by core contributors Pierre Wool, Jonas, Nick, Anthony Towns, and Tim Ruffing. Excuse me if I'm butchering these guys' names. Schnorr signatures are a cryptographic innovation that has long been on top of many Bitcoin developers' wish lists. Their activation would enable more flexible multi-signature transactions and make them indistinguishable from standard Bitcoin transactions. So that is interesting. Now, if we search for this Bitcoin, oh, forgot I had a separate alarm going on there. If we search for Bitcoin Taproot, we go take a look at the news here. You can see from CoinDesk 54 minutes ago. If we click on that, oh, well, now it works. That was interesting. So earlier when I clicked on this, it said that it was a 404 error. I thought they took it down like as if, oh, whoops. Not supposed to tell people about that or something. But yeah, here we go. 5 minutes later, apparently the article was up. Even more interesting. Gone and then came back. Taproot has been merged into Bitcoin's core. Here's what that means. So they probably just elaborated a little bit more from the author Colin Harper here. And in the work since it was introduced by Gregory Maxwell in the first month of 2018, the upgrade is perhaps the most anticipated soft fork in Bitcoin since SegWit was activated in 2016. This could take weeks or months. It says its upgrade is only waiting to be deployed at this point. So some really good information right there coming out. Some good news in regards to the Bitcoin Core. Okay, moving on. Now we take a look at what's going on with the stock market, right? Because we have been seeing a lot of correlation, especially with the S&P 500. But guess what? We might be seeing a little bit of that decoupling going on, and we're going to show you why here in just a second. But you tell me in the comments, do you think that we're actually decoupling, or is this just a brief moment and it's actually a sign that something else is about to happen here? So you take a look at the S&P 500, you can see that it is slightly down for the day. It's having a little bit of a recovery, bounce back up, but the S&P 500 overall is just slightly down. Then we take a look over at the Dow Jones. Same thing. You see Dow Jones down, but starting to have a little bit of a recovery here. And NASDAQ Composite. Same thing. Seeing a little bit of a drop right here, the 0.88. And even if you take a look at something like Tesla. And Tesla, it's hurting a little bit more. But hey, it had a good day yesterday when everything else was suffering. So, you know, the fact that it's reversed. But you can even see it also is starting to have a little bit of a recovery right there. We'll take also a look at Apple real quick too. I've been liking to keep that in kind of in the loop. So Apple stocks also slightly down, but having an overall recovery throughout the day. So hopefully that doesn't have too much of an impact here on Bitcoin, unless it's on the bullish side because we want to be bullish. And if you guys can take a look over here, this is on the 4-hourly chart, but let's pull back just for a second. Take a look at the daily. The daily is still a red candle. You know, in a sense, this is kind of a good thing because, as I've kind of mentioned before, you have a series of green days. It's healthy to have a little bit of a pullback before you have a further continuation on. If it's just up, 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 that's a formula for a bubble. And what happens to bubbles when they get too big? They pop, right? And when they pop, they tend to pop hard. There's a huge retracement back, and we don't really want these massive drops down. I'm sure a lot of you guys that have investments, you're probably ready for Bitcoin to try and hit 100,000, $1 million, $10 million. Hey, with the rate of inflation, a quadrillion dollars, a Google. Oh my God, we could all own Google. Don't think that's necessarily a good thing if you actually say that you have a Google amount. But anyways, so taking a look at this right here, you can see that we are in a symmetrical triangle and it needs to make a decision. And essentially with its point right now, Bitcoin's like, oh, no, 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 no. I'm going to wait till the last minute to really make a big decision from you. It did have a bit of a fake out here, had a pull down that took place and then ended up coming back into the triangle based pattern. So when this daily closes out, if it's still within this region zone, I would say we should expect some high volatility that's going to take place over here in the next day because it's got nowhere else to move. It could reposition itself technically, and this pattern could have a wider formation. But, you know, we've had such low volatility for so long now, and you got major institutions that are starting to come into play that I think there could be some big, significant moves. Now you can see I've got this green dotted line, this red dotted line right here. Right, so that's actually based on the 4-hourly chart. And just real quick, one last thing I want to kind of say here is that we are still above the 21 EMA. So that's a good sign. The fact that we are still above the 21 EMA, it's not good that it's a red candle, but hey, we are still above the 21 EMA. Now we go to the 4-hour chart, and you can see I have a little bit of a reference back here. What I thought was interesting was we had these big push-ups that took place, and it was on a 12-hour cycle. So you had this massive push-up, and then a day and 12 hours later, another massive push up. 2 days and 12 hours later, another massive push up. And then over this point in time, we had about 2 days. There was a pretty significant drop. You could argue and say that it also took place over here. But we did have a little bit of a drop off that took place. And then just kind of waiting to see it out. Didn't have any significant move that took place here. So the next major zone, 3 bars or 12-hour cycle, right? Pushing this across. Potentially, or well, 3-day cycle since this specific point. Makes me wonder, are we going to have a significant move during this point in time, during these 4 hours? And we are inside that space as of the time of me making this video. You can see that there's a fake out that took place. So in this symmetrical triangle, price went down over the course of those 4 hours, and now it's had a bit of a recovery pushing back up. And you can see the price is continuing to rise. It's continuing to rise. Kind of holding just slightly above the median zone of this symmetrical triangle. If it breaks above this level of resistance, then I'd say another key level we need to look at is it needs to go above $11,500. And in theory, if it breaks above this and we look at this pattern here, we might see a push up to ranges just underneath $12,000. And I don't know about you guys, but I would love it if it just smashed through $12,000 and start to form a new level of support with the $12,000. Some people want to be able to keep buying more Bitcoin. You know, it's always nice to be able to accumulate a little bit more. But hey, this year's been crazy. Let's make some big gains, guys, especially with the altcoins. And speaking of altcoins, let's go take a look over on what's going on with Orchid. And again, if you guys are new to the channel, you're enjoying yourselves, please don't forget to hit subscribe, guys. Hit that little bell notification so you don't miss these videos. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button. We are trying to get to at least 50 likes on this video. Okay, so looking at Orchid on daily. Orchid right now, still not looking too great, still in the red zone. And that has been following a continuous pattern, as I've mentioned before. This top level of resistance has essentially been a guide saying like, hey, you're going to keep going this way. You're going to keep going this way. But when you look at it from a TA perspective, this is a wedge pattern. which is a large indication of a reversal should be expected here sometime soon. And the Orchid on the daily is still below the 21 EMA. So we need to get above that. It's been having a lot of trouble for a pretty good amount of time now for it to actually want to be able to swap over and start making some action there. You can see from the RSI down below here, let me go and expand that out just a little bit, that the overall volume has gone down on the RSI, and we're starting to see a little bit of an uptick. If I reposition this here, you can see that it is slightly more angled, but it's still on a downward trajectory. You can see that the RSI has been pulling down there. So ideally, want to see this start to kick itself up, more so actually with the volume here. I mean, this, what is going on with my chart? I don't know why I didn't drop that down. Anyways, so you can see the volume has progressively just kind of flatlined out. And if you think about it in the same sense like with Bitcoin, Bitcoin's volatility has really flatlined out. And there needs to be some action that's going to take place. So this high level of volume, when it starts kicking up, as we can see traditionally, except for the fall off that took place right afterwards, but there was stuff that happened with Bitcoin as well. So not necessarily saying that that's all impacted by Orchid, but we should see potentially a good little green candle, especially when I talked about the fact that we have that descending wedge. You also look at the fact that there's a lot more exchanges that now offer the ability to buy Orchid, and their team is continuously having new rollouts of news, and there's new market space that they're looking into. So very exciting news, and the fourth quarter I think could prove to be very, very good for Orchid. This is looking at this on the daily. We are below this actual consolidated space, this little rectangle right here. So that's not good. We're in the lower quadrant of the Fibonacci retracement, pushing towards the 0.382 level. Needs to make a little bit of a climb back up. You can see though that as of the moment, this big red candle on the daily has a large wick on the bottom, but it's showing a lot of recovery. In fact, it's almost above that level of resistance, and it might have a further continuation up. These large wicks, they're pretty common for Orchid. If you take a look at this historically, you can look back here. There's some very, very big movements that took place, even on the green candles, not necessarily just on the red candles on the top sections here. You can even see on the green candle here, at a massive, massive gain, but then a huge sell-off. So did we have a potentially the huge sell-off for the day? I feel like I'm stumbling over my words so much right now. Do we have a huge sell-off for the day already, and now we're going to see a huge boom take place? Possibly, and hopefully. I own Orchid. I want it to go up. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor, guys. Just another little insert randomly in the video so I can say that I said it right. Okay, so, oh, that's funny. That's still over there. I thought I deleted this. And I thought that I saved it. Let's get all that removed, and let's save that layout. Okay. Now in the 4-hourly, this is where things are a little bit confusing. But as of the moment, it's actually a good sign. So I'm glad that I recorded this video when I did, because this was a descending channel and not necessarily strong signs of which direction or which side, that's what I was kind of leading to, thinking ahead while I'm talking already, which direction this is going to go, right? Could go up, it could go down, and you should be really just kind of eyeballing the whole thing. The good news is that as this fell along the line of the resistance, now that's passed above the level of resistance yet again, as you can see, it's kind of dipped above these. It's having a nice little green candle and showing a further momentum pushing up. And you can see the RSI is starting to kick up a little bit too. The technicals are suggesting right about here, you can't see it. It says sell, but it's because it's been in this downward spiral. So is it time for a reversal and for this to actually start making some good positive gain movements? I personally think so, but you know, we have been in this big downward spiral. It needs to establish itself a little bit stronger before I can say with full certainty that we are in a good bull run. But right now it's showing good signs of an impending bull run. Okay, and then next up we have XRP. And looking at XRP, let's go to the daily to start with. Daily, overall, you're seeing some gains as of the previous weeks, but not so much right now. And the only real big indicator that's suggesting some possible gains, I mean, we're going to look at both sides of this, right, is still this massive head and shoulder based pattern right here. So if you take a look at this, you could see theoretically that across that neckline, if it had a further continuation up, we could see it push up to around 30 cents or so. And also, if you take a look here on the 4-hourly, we got a couple things that are going on. So one is we have a triple top. One right here, here, and here. These are more accurately defined near the same point. This is just slightly down. I'd say that this is close enough to include it as well. But regardless, a double top or a triple top, both are bearish signs suggesting the price is going to go down more. So that's not a good sign for it. But the slight conflicting point of view is that on the 4-hourly here, as the price is starting to go down, it has broken down below this bottom line right here, that theoretically this is a bullish indicator, so the price might come up. So if the price does go up, then you might end up seeing it reclaim back up, pushing right along to around the 26-cent level on the short term. Long term, not looking good. The RSI is also, this could be considered potentially a good thing. It's showing as being more oversold, and it could lead to a little bit of recovery position there. But when you're looking at the overall long term on the daily, and it's suggesting that the price is more than likely going to keep going down, and the RSI is kind of in this median zone, we might see a little bit of a Grand Canyon starting to form over here. You got mountain ridges forming on top. Might see a Grand Canyon starting to form. So I'd be very cautious, guys. Be very, very cautious of this as of the moment. And yeah, so realistically, needs to stay above the 21 EMA. It had broken down below, showing some signs of recovery at the moment. That 4-hourly showing a little bit of signs right there for the recovery, right? But the fact that it is not on a closeout yet for the 21 EMA as of the time you're making this video, just be a little bit cautious. This was a huge dump. Now, if the entire market starts to show further recovery, then who knows? We might see a nice little establishment for XRP as well. Let me know. What do you guys think? Are you guys more favored towards XRP and it's going to have another rally here? As far as the next major breaking point, right? Definitively. Do you think XRP is going to kind of set the standard first? Do you think Orchid is going to set the standard first? Or do you think Bitcoin is going to set the standard first? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys haven't subscribed, please don't forget to hit subscribe. Once again, turn the bell notification on. I know I've said it a couple times in this video, and I hope I'm not annoying you guys. We are trying to grow the channel, but more importantly, we're trying to grow the community. And I love talking with you guys. Again, if you see the live stream on later in the evening, feel free to pop in, even if you just want to say hi in the chat. If I'm not replying right away, if I'm not actually on the camera, then I will pop in at some point and also chime in and say hello to you guys too. So thank you guys so much. You guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next episode.